Hey friends, my name is Gabby and welcome to my channel, and today we're exploring the topic of rejection. I find this so fascinating, like with every single subject that I talk about, and especially how this concept of rejection affects us and how we take it so personally, and how majority of the things that we don't do or that we do pursue and then hence get rejected, and it makes us feel really discouraged. So today I want to talk to you about rejection, and I'm just gonna jump right to it and say that a couple of months ago I made a video talking about problems, and if you watched the video you remember that I said that if you really want, you can turn anything into a problem. And I'm gonna take this topic of rejection and say exactly the same thing. If you really want to, you can turn anything into a rejection. You can apply for an event, apply for a school, go for a job interview, ask somebody out, and if they say no, sorry, like we don't choose you or you didn't get in, we can take it so personally and say, I have been rejected. And I'm here to tell you that rejection is fully your responsibility. I said it. Rejection is your responsibility, and rejection is your side of the court, not the persons who supposedly rejected you. And so much of rejection and how we respond to the term rejection comes to self-worth. Because I often hear people, applying to jobs and not getting a job, or asking somebody out and then, the person saying, oh no, sorry, I'm not interested in you. And they take it so personally and they say, oh my God, I've been rejected. Does it mean that I'm not good enough? There's something wrong with me. I don't have this skill set. We make this whole thing about us and we take it so personally. And let me tell you, probably like 95% of all our problems, 95% of all our problems comes because we take things so personally. Now, let's take an example of applying to jobs, right? If you have applied to 50 jobs and you got 10 interviews out of those jobs, and then you went to the interviews and let's say you didn't pass any one of those interviews, it's very easy to say, oh, I've been rejected. Oh my God, what's the point? What's wrong with me? And it's very easy to fall into the victim mode, right? Because a lot of the times, most of the times, rejection just means that we don't have the self-worth and we feel like a victim, right? So obviously, if you've applied to 50 jobs and you didn't get it, you're not going to be excited about applying for your 51st job, especially if you have the attitude of, I've been rejected. Why would you want to apply? Because you take it so personally. You really make it affect your self-worth. You're making it mean something about you as a person. So no wonder you're not going to be excited for potential future job opportunities, because so far, you've been rejected. On the other hand, if you're applying to jobs and you apply to 50 jobs, you get 10 interviews out of those jobs, you go to every single one interview and then you don't get them, and you don't take it personally and you don't make it mean anything about you, and you don't fall into the mindset and the sort of state of being a victim, you're actually going to be excited to apply for more jobs, because you're going to say, hey, that was a great experience. I had 10 different interviews, which means that it's 10 times the experience that you had beforehand. You're more familiar with the questions, you've learned something, how to, for example, express yourself, or if you, how to communicate with the person who was interviewing you. So if you don't take things personally, and if you don't take things as a rejection, it's an incredible learning opportunity. And me being me, I also talk about sort of like spirituality and the universe on this channel. If you're not into that kind of stuff, that's totally fine. But I believe that everything happens for a reason, and I also believe that every single thing is a lesson. And if you don't get something, it just means that it prepares you better for the next thing that is to come. So if you have 10 interviews and you don't get any of the jobs through those interviews, but then you apply for another job and then you have an interview, you're gonna feel already more confident, because you're gonna say, hey, I already had 10 practice runs, and now I'm gonna go to my 11th interview and I have all this additional experience. So it doesn't affect your self-worth as being in the state of like victimhood, right? And man, I really see it often. It doesn't matter if you're in your 20s or in your 40s. If it's not something that you work on, if it's not something like if it's not a mindset shift that you work on, it's gonna last years and years. So it doesn't matter if you're 20 or if you're 45. If you really don't, I don't want to say take control of your mind, but if you don't investigate how you think about things, and if you don't really analyze your perception and why you see things the way you see them, it's really not beneficial, because you don't want to go through life thinking that you're not a good enough person, and you don't want to go through life feeling like you have no power. And rejection also all comes down to your personal power. So many things make us feel a loss of power, right? So when you go and you ask somebody out and they say no, you feel like you have this loss of power. You feel powerless. Oh man, I went and I did this thing and it didn't even succeed, right? You didn't get the outcome that you wanted, and it affects your power. You feel like you're at a loss of power. But again, coming down to the victim mentality and also taking things personally. Don't make things so personal. It's probably not even about you. And coming from the whole New York City acting world, it's very easy, and I still have so many friends who are actors. It's very easy if you're in a victimhood mentality, and if you're very, very sensitive to rejection. Oh my God, if you go and be an actor, it's not gonna be pretty, because you might go to like 100 auditions and only book like 3 jobs. So if you make it mean something about you, well, it's gonna be really tough on you, and you're probably gonna come out crying every single time. And I was just talking to a friend of mine the other day who's an actor, and she was saying, yeah, you know, like, I'm just really standing in my worth. And even if I go to an audition, my aim is to do my absolute best work. And my aim is to feel so good about myself that even if I don't get the role, it doesn't affect me. And that's the most beautiful state to be in. And I feel like that's the way I approach a lot of the things as well. Whether it's job opportunities, whether it's like clients and something not working out, it's not about being rejected. It's not about failure. It's either you learn something from it, or it's just not meant for you. So look into your life and see if there's an area of your life where rejection feels the most sensitive to you. Maybe it's relationships, and you know, if you ask somebody out and they say no, or if somebody asks you out and you reject them, maybe you feel guilty as well. Maybe it's in your career. Maybe you're applying to jobs and not getting it. Maybe it's in something like seminars or applying for certain opportunities that are outside of work. Maybe it's hobbies. Maybe you love playing basketball and you auditioned. Wait, you can't really audition for basketball, can you? You go to like, what are they called? I'm literally just watching a TV series about Michael Jordan and I forgot. You go to okay, let's just take the word audition for a basketball. God, this is not going well. Okay, let me take another subject. If you want to go to do a hobby, something like a theater group, and you go and audition for this after work theater group and you don't get in, right? And you take it really personally and you're like, oh my God, you see, I'm so horrible at this. Of course, people are going to reject me. So look into different areas of your life and see where rejection is the most sensitive to you. And behind any rejection, there's a belief, or there's a sentence that says something about you that really hurts you. So perhaps when it comes to things like academic, rejections, like applying to schools or going for job interviews, if you get, a no and you make it really personal, what are you saying to yourself about yourself? You see, you're not good enough, you're stupid, you're not smart enough, you're not intelligent enough, this always happens to you. What is behind that feeling of, oh man, I got rejected? What is the feeling, what is behind the feeling of rejection when it comes to personal relationships? If you ask somebody out and they say no, what do you make it mean about you? What is your internal monologue? Are you saying, you see, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not good enough, I'm super weird, I'm a total loser? What is your internal dialogue? Because as I said, rejection is your responsibility. You could take 2 people and they could have the same amount of rejections or no's, and one person is going to be super excited and they're not even going to blink an eye and they're going to still feel great about themselves. On the other hand, somebody might really just, lock themselves in a room, sit in a corner and cry and say, oh my God, this is horrible. I am rejected over and over again, so why even try? If I can give you just one thing to take away from this, is get rid of the word rejection. I don't even use it in my vocabulary. It's not something I think about. I just don't see things as rejection. It's either it's meant for me, it's not meant for me, it's either a great learning experience, or that's it. So get rid of the word rejection. Stop living in this world of rejection and he rejected me, this company rejected me. It's not about that. Take the power back and realize that rejection is your side of the court and it's your responsibility. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it and I really wanted to talk about the subject. If there are any thoughts that came up, if there's a certain thing that really stood out to you, let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. And if you enjoyed it, please give this video a big thumbs up because it really supports my channel and it helps this whole algorithm business, and I don't even care about the algorithm, but nevertheless, if you want to support me, please if you really want to support me, please give this video a big thumbs up and I will see you next week. Bye.